Alrighty. A Court of Silver Flames. Man, what a ride. This was my favorite book so far. I cannot wait to see what comes next. And for now, I hope you enjoy all of these highs, lows, and yes, even the spice. I left in the spice. That's just how nice I am. Here in one place. Without further ado, be warned of spoilers and enjoy. So, I'm finally listening to A Court of Silver Flames. Very exciting. I love that it starts out with an intervention. Oh god, that's very funny, but also kind of like, wow. Okay, Nesta is numbing herself, and she's hurting very, very deeply. And her tools of choice happen to be wine, a revolving door of lovers, and not letting anyone close to her. And I'm glad she's able to, like, you know, exposure therapy herself to these baths, but it probably took forever for her. When they were talking about the trauma with that, I was like, oh god, okay, yep, I'm feeling a kinship already to her, even more so. I can't wait to see what this book is and what I get to find out about her. Oh my gosh, getting Cassian's POV for the first time of Nesta, I'm loving it, I'm loving it, I'm loving it. So if this is what enemies to lovers is like, okay, I'm here for it. I love the way they play and the tension that's there. And then my heart broke when he said that, you know, he was thinking to himself, like, you know, I didn't know how this could ever be anything, because even though she protected me at the battle, and, you know, she came to the townhouse, and he had picked out a gift for her that he spent months thinking about, and he threw it into the syndrome! That broke my heart. That broke my heart! Oh, and the way he talked about worshipping every inch of her spectacular backside in those Illyrian fighting leather pants. Oh! Yes! Also, like, the fact that he needed all 3 of those minutes to settle himself back down before going and taking her to the Illyrian warrior camp. After seeing her walk up the stairs in those fighting leathers. Ow, ow. I don't know, it's not really a trope. I love it when men get hot and bothered at the smallest things. Like, yes. Yes, yes, yes. The way at breakfast that Nesta and Cassian, of course, like, Nesta is depressed. She doesn't have an appetite. I've been there. I'm there more recently. Also, the food sort of repulsing her. I get that often. Anyhow, he's explaining to her why she needs to eat, because they're about to go train for 2 hours, and that's a lot of physical activity, and these foods will help her. And I just loved that whole interaction where she was like, no, piss off, you can't tell me what to do. And then, you know, he was like, alright, there's gonna be consequences though. And I'm getting like a BDSM vibe, maybe, you know, and I want to see where that goes. But also in a healthy way, because, like, he's making sure she eats and takes care of herself, which I love. I love. And, like, it's tragic because, of course, you know, he doesn't know that she is woefully attracted to him. But he's like, yeah, no, she said she's got no interest, but then they're, like, you know, playing back and forth where it's like, she's like, if you think that this training is gonna end up with you climbing into my bed, you're sorely mistaken. He's like, I know it won't. It'll end with you climbing into mine. I went, that was my face as I was just listening to this scene where Nesta and Cassian are at the breakfast table, and she makes a quip about, oh yeah, it doesn't count if your hands are doing most of the work, and, you know, whatever. And then he's like, oh, you know, is that what your books tell you, that it only happens at night? He's like, could be at dawn's first light, after a long, hard day of training. And she's just looking at his hands and just kind of going, oh. Oh my god, her toes curling and oh no, I am both like, imagine being Azrael sitting at this table just like eating your damn eggs, and you're like, guys, it's so awful to hear how Nesta talks about herself. Wow. And they definitely have this, I think this is an enemies to lovers thing, because she's trying to be like, she doesn't care if she makes his life, like, humiliates him in front of all the other Valyrians, whatever it may be. And he, you know, gets a kick out of, you know, teasing her, but also really does want her to get better. But they also do this thing where it's like this game of, you know, yeah, it's a game, and it's a very interesting game to read. I don't know how to describe it beyond that, but I know that there's words that I'm looking for. But it is an undercurrent of tension, but also of care, but neither of them are willing to admit that to the other, and they can banter hilariously well. So, you know, like, of course, duh. She says she's not training in that miserable effing village, and she says it that way specifically like 3 separate times. And there's a training ring at the House of Wind. Literally, like, put 2 and 2 together here, my guy. The way it's said in the book, I'm like, yes, Cassian, you should have realized this ages ago. Because of course, like, she doesn't want to look vulnerable or feel humiliated in front of all these very arrogant and, you know, misogynistic Illyrian warriors who already think she's a witch and would probably, like, mock her to smithereens for attempting to learn how to fight. And yeah, okay, like, I don't know why it took us so long to get here. Oh my god. Oh, that was such a good scene. Ooh, damn. When I first saw that look on your face, Nesta, you were still human then, and I nearly went to my knees for you. And then do you know what I'm gonna think about tonight? And then the way he steps away and she describes it as like a bucket of ice water being poured over her. That is such a perfect description. Oh my god, the tension, them just looking into each other's eyes like that. The hand on the chest. The thoughts racing through her head, and then he's like, that look on your face. I'm always thinking of that look on your face, which is both adorable and like, okay. I think the house ships them as well. Like, the way the house, like, you know, normally gave her dinner in her room, but also gave her smut box, which is hilarious. The house reads smut, apparently, and made her a really nice rosemary lavender bath, which I also loved that little note as well. And it also reminds me of, like, you know, home being a place of comfort and safety, you know, when you are going through something really, really hard. And the way that the house was like, all right, here's your smut books, you read it last night, now go have dinner with Cassian, girl. Like, literally, if you're hungry, open the door. I'm opening the door, go eat. If you know what I mean. Listen, I think, you know, as someone who has been through some traumatic situations and come out the other side, I deserve an Illyrian general to come and help me out of this little tough spot that I'm in right now, you know? And even as I am sassy to sort of test, this is what she's doing. She's testing how hard he is willing to fight for her, because she thinks everybody hates her. She thinks everybody is going to abandon her because she isn't worthy of love. That's what she thinks. I'm not saying that's not what I think, but I still deserve an Illyrian general or some kind of, you know, shadow daddy to just, you know, whisk me away to the spring court, or the night court, or the... I digress. A Court of Silver Flames is definitely, so far, the spiciest of the series, and It is a really good thing I was parked for that scene that just came on, because oh my god. We may not have gotten the scene where Nesta, Azrael, and Cassian have fun together, but it's definitely canon that Nesta wants that. She was watching them train, and then the thoughts she was we got some very descriptive thoughts that she was having. There's an image there. There was a lot of thought and intention put behind that. And yeah, no, it's canon. It's canon, she wants that. Wow. So I just read the Kelpie scene. In the bog. That was so beautifully described. Like, I want to see this terrifying place now, despite it being literally the essence of death and decay itself. Or maybe that's why. But oh my god. The way in that scene Nesta flashed back to traumatic incidents and took her power back. And I loved the line where those things happened to her, but today she was going to happen to him. The trauma girlies get it, is what someone said to me. And that's Nesta and the trauma girlies. It just, SJM's doing a really lovely job with this book. Loving the spice, loving the healing arc and the processing that Nesta's doing that we're getting to see. According to Silver Flames update, spicy edition, private story, viewers only. The way that the Sergeant Mass describes, like, the things, you know, he says, and then the voice actor does a fantastic job as well of saying it in this, like, tone with so much behind it. It feels real, you know? Whether it's that quiet dark lust or more the reverent, like, when he called her sex beautiful, and she was like, oh my god, stop, oh my god, you know? No, but she was really like, you know, hips in the air, and then she put him down, and she was like, no one's ever called it that before. He's like, you're lying. She's like, you're lying. And he's like, I'm beyond lies right now, Nesta. And I'm like, okay, I like this. It was so beautiful, so tender. I'm about to crash out because Cassian isn't real. He is a fictional character, but I'm about to crash out because, oh my god, that scene I just read. I'm feral. The scenes in the other books were wonderful, don't get me wrong, but what I just read is a whole new dynamic, and one that I like, and oh my god. Tangible descriptive words. A tangible visualization, too. Oh my god. And they haven't even done the whole headboard thing I keep hearing everyone talking about. This was the infinity pool moment with her. And it's not just that, it's beautifully written, you know, open door romance. The connection that they have, the bond that they have, even though it's an unspoken devotion to one another, it runs deep, and everyone's starting to see it in the book, and they're starting to admit it to themselves. But wow. They are a storm, and I love it. The scene with her emerging from the water with an army of the dead, holy shit, and the mask. I have a mask like that. Y'all can expect a cosplay coming soon. Oh man. And, you know, I loved when, you know, I realized that he was the first one who called her Lady Death. And I had heard that name before floating around social media. But when I say I want a cute nickname, that is what I mean. That is what I mean. Where can I get this? Put me on. Okay, so I don't know if it's just that SJM got more skilled at writing spicy scenes, or that she took more creative opportunities during those scenes, but this is so different than the prior books. Maybe it's just, you know, Cassian and Nesta's dynamic, but you know what this makes me think? What is Asriel and possibly Elaine's situation going to look like? And what are their scenes going to look like? Because I'm speaking it into existence now. We need those scenes. We need those scenes. And yeah, I'm excited for whatever's in store. And for the rest of this book too, because oh my lord! I'm like angry. It was so good, I'm angry. I know that Sarah J. Maas had to get rid of Nesta's why choose moment scene, but like the internet exists, and apparently the thing that I read with Feyre and Rhys and other people might be canon, at least in the larger universe, and that's like, I read that and I was like, immediately thought of that and I was like, ooh, wowie, ooh. So this was an interesting chapter where Nesta not being told about the fact that she had accidentally created magically imbued weapons with her powers, and that betrayal and the disgrace of it, that they did not deem her worthy of that information, even though it pertained directly to her, immediately followed by her dropping the truth unkindly, but honestly, maybe it was a kindness, in Feyre's lap, that the baby has wings and it won't just be a difficult pregnancy, like it's going to kill the both of them. It was a very it's not your dinner time yet. No. It was a very touching scene. The way Feyre already cares for her baby so much. I can't wait to see Mama Bear Feyre, is what somebody said. And I personally kind of go, about pregnancy and stuff, but oh my gosh, they didn't tell her and her heart broke. That was a really neat parallel with the both of them having that situation in the same chapter where things were kept from them that pertained to them directly and were extremely, extremely serious. And perhaps Feyre's was more personally dire, but because the people around them thought that they were protecting them somehow from this, by not telling them this information, they actually ended up hurting them a lot more. That was them. They felt like the people who didn't tell them did not think they could handle the information, or were worthy of it, or were too fragile for it. And that is it's insult to injury. You know, the news itself is horrible. With Feyre and with Nesta, it is still like oh wow, okay, we've created this whole entire new type of magic that could change the entire structure of the world. But oh no, we weren't going to tell you about it. Huh? I feel for them both. And Rhysand's anger towards Nesta for telling the truth, I kind of get it, but I also, the threat, like, to telling Cassie and get Nesta out of the city before I kill her. He is dealing with the imminent death of the love of his life and his unborn child. However, because her sister told her the truth, that's not a reason to kill the person who told her the truth. I would understand if she was a direct threat to them. No, he's not getting a pass for this one. Sorry, Rhys. Good lord. The chapter, the scene, the desk scene. Are the men reading this book Are the men reading this book? I need to know, because that's it. That's how you do it. Okay, but all spiciness aside, whoa, the mountain. That is a beautiful metaphor. You keep walking, you just keep moving your feet, you keep trying, and it does get better someday. I've climbed a few mountains myself, and I was in a place where I could deeply empathize with the thoughts Nesta's having. And it is so beautiful to see her begin to heal. And to know that, you know, the way that Cassian walked alongside her, even in silence. But when she was ready, he was there to hold her through the storm of her tears and her self-hatred and all of it. Oh my God. So, oh my goodness, the Court of Nightmares, Nesta and Eris's dance, I could picture it, I could hear the music, I could see her dress, I could see the way she was moving. Sarah J. Maas did a really good job describing dancing, and Nesta's experience being moved by the music and all she could do with this beautiful song, and the way that it made her feel was to move her body in worship of it. And as someone who has that same relationship to music and dance, I was like, oh hell yeah, I relate to Nesta more now. And, you know, her, you know, spotting her spins and everything like that. Ugh. And the way the whole room, like, ooh, I want a moment like that. I do. I love how she's stepping into her power, and Eris is a smooth talker, and a good dancer, it sounds like, letting her do her thing as well, which is hard to find in a dance partner, someone who can read your flow as well. But I am yet to be convinced that he is actually good, but we don't know yet. There's definitely depth to him that we have not seen. I'll give him that. He still might be a dirtbag though, especially with the whole Moore situation. I also loved the scene where Nesta decided to exposure therapy, sort of treat herself with starting a fire, and the crackling of the logs being a traumatic trigger, reminding her of, you know, when her father died and his bones breaking. And that scene really resonated with me, tears out of both eyes, because I thought of the sounds that have that same response for me. Ooh, the way that Elaine and Azriel had a glance that was charged that Nesta noticed, and there was something there, even though, of course, Azriel schooling his face, being a master of that. I ship it. Or, potentially, I believe this is actually the time in the story around when Pretty Little Angel, the fanfic, might be occurring. But yeah, I don't recall exactly what timing it is. But the solstice party is when this is at. Oh my god, the gift that Cassian gave Nesta! I did not expect that when the silver orb was pulled out of the box, but not only did he give her a way to play the music that she loved at any time she wanted, he had to go and get every one of those musicians to play again after the ball. So that's why there was no background noise. And then he went to the taverns that she used to love dancing in and asked those musicians, probably paid them a fortune to record the fucking music just for the orb, for her. And then what came after, oh my goodness. Oh, the anger, but then I don't fully understand, but I kind of do, why she was like punishing herself and couldn't let herself have him. They are so madly in love with each other, and they haven't spoken it yet, but the way it's being described in the book, it's like the words in each other's eyes, you know? And like, because I was jealous when, that's why she's like, why did you cut in? Oh, okay, that was a good moment. And, like, he still thinks of himself as, like, this lowborn bastard, and that someone, like, that she looked like a queen, and didn't feel good enough for her, and then she's like, I can't accept this, and because of what it means, I'm gonna marry Ares, because he's a piece of shit, and I'm a piece of shit, and you're good, Cassian, and I have never deserved you. And I was like, oh my goodness, I guess I didn't really understand all of that was going on in her head this whole time. Wow. I just read the Nesta Starfall scene, and I love the line, she never knew she could be so full of wonder that it hurt. That there could be such beauty in the world, and the tears that she cried, she didn't even know why she was crying, but then she started thinking to herself, there's so much beauty here, and she's so glad and grateful to be here, to be alive. And I have moments of the most profound gratitude like that, and I believe, and I'm so happy that she has reached that point, and that gratitude is deepened by the darkness that she has known. My voice is a little scratchy, but because of that, it is that much more significant, and it was beautiful. Also, I feel like the mating bond between her and Cassian definitely snapped into place with the way that they have been going at it like rabbits. She never knew she could be so full of him. That's what I'm saying. Those stories really reached deep inside me and just ripped me right open. As they should. And now the three of them, as sisters who have sharing these broken parts of themselves with each other, and knowing that their friends will not turn away, and to prove to themselves that they can do it, despite how broken and hurt they feel. They can climb fucking Ramiel and win the whole dang thing, which is a stupid blood rite ritual anyways. Those stories really reached deep inside me and just ripped me right open. As they should. And now the three of them, as sisters who have sharing these broken parts of themselves with each other, and knowing that their friends will not turn away, and to prove to themselves that they can do it, despite how broken and hurt they feel. They can climb fucking Ramiel and win the whole dang thing, which is a stupid blood rite ritual anyways. These books mean so much to so many people, and I am among them now, and I understand why now. Silver Flames especially has sat very, very personally with me. And the way that this book handles trauma is... I didn't expect to be therapized by a fairy smut book, but here we are, right? Here we are, and I am better for it. Honestly, if they can do it, so can I. So yeah, and then it was the part where she made the deal with the cauldron, the universe, whatever you want to call it, about Feyre's anatomy being built to bear a baby with Illyrian wings, and hers too. So, and I loved when Cassie was like, you're ready for a baby? She's like, hell no, I'm drinking my contraceptive tea for a long while, thank you. Also, can I get some contraceptive tea? Because I'm sure that's a hell of a lot better than the side effects that, ugh. But, oh my gosh. But no mention of Elaine. None. Is that a clue as to who he will end up with? I don't think so. I just think it's going to be another point for plot difficulty to happen. And hey, maybe Elaine doesn't even want kids. Maybe they have an entire garden and that is enough. And trust me, I know. Plants can be demanding. Okay, enormous spoilers ahead. So now, like, get out of here. Go, shoot, bye. Oh my gosh. I said, oh, like 5 times while reading that last bit, that climax where Feyre was giving birth and Nesta went and wore all 3 items of the Dread Trove and like has a heart-to-heart with like the universe itself. Apparently, that's pretty freaking awesome. The baby lived, and Nesta spoke aloud to Feyre finally, I love you. And the part where she was like, Nesta wanted to live, she wanted to feel it all, even the bad stuff, because you need the bad stuff to feel the good and the beauty. And I went, oh. 20 plus hours later, I have finished a quart of Silver Flames. Now I just need to find the bonus chapters because I've never read a single one of them, and I know they exist, and I know that there's foreshadowing with Asriel and Elaine in them, and I need that. Because obviously, duh. But oh my gosh, and Nesta went to her father's grave. And Feyre, it all came full circle and closed so beautifully, except the part left open about Coast J, and of course Baron, and Eris might not be a bad guy. Maybe we don't hate Eris, and the fact that Cassian absolutely loathed him at first, but then really empathized with him and told him so, is very big of him. So, like, Nesta's so freaking cool. I love her story. I loved the story of the the Valkyries, making it up the fucking mountain and her having that last stand in the archway. Ooh. Also, yeah, Brialyn got what she wanted eventually. She was made younger, but then she got turned to ash. Poetic justice. But, that was such a good, like, several chapters. Yeah, that was fun. That was really fun. Interesting, Nesta still has a little fragment of her power. We'll have to see what that looks like, what it is, and, the whole "you're my mate" with Cassian. Also, the fact that she was like, I want a disgustingly extravagant mating ceremony. He's like, and I was like, that's my girl right there. When you do it right.